Hey, how's it going YouTube? Jason here with Maslin Tech. I recently took a break from YouTube a couple months ago to move. I previously recorded and edited everything in the corner of an apartment my wife and I had. We've since bought a house, and with it, I got my own office. During the transition, I made some serious setup gains, and I love the new space. It's still a work in progress, but I wanted to share it with you guys. Here's my desk and setup tour going into 2017. Let's start at the space I spend the most time at, my desk. A lot of YouTubers really like the IKEA shelf tops across IKEA Alex drawers, but for my desk, I went with a little more traditional approach. I've got World Market's wood and metal Tegan desk. It's pretty darn heavy at 125 pounds, so moving it into the space required a bit of disassembly and reassembly, but it's solid. The desk is 5 feet wide and deep enough for me to stand my ultra-wide monitor on it with plenty of space for my mouse, keyboard, and laptop. I try to keep my desktop clean, but realistically, it looks like this when I'm working at it. All of my peripherals are wireless, but for the sake of input lag and battery life, I like to keep them all wired to an Anker USB hub that comes out of my monitor. My monitor is LG's 34UM95, and it sits on top of a Gist Mobile M-Table stand. The monitor is a few years old now, but the 34-inch 3440 by 1440 panel still looks great. Final Cut's timeline is a breeze to work with, and the expanded field of view for games really immerses me into the action. It has several I/O ports on the back, and can take inputs through HDMI, DisplayPort, and Thunderbolt. On mine, I've got the Anker USB hub, a blue Snowball microphone, a GTX 1070 small form factor rig going through DisplayPort, and my MacBook Pro hooked up through the Thunderbolt port. From my seat, I have access to any additional cables or hard drives that I need in the desk's 3 drawers, and to the left of the desk, I have a small IKEA bedside table that acts as additional storage and a place to hide my MacBook Pro while still having it hooked into everything. In my side drawer, I've got my GoPro, USB chargers, and extra flash drives, as well as some storage below that. To back up all my data, I've got a 3TB external drive on the lower shelf. All of this is plugged into a couple of Belkin surge protectors. The bottom shelves of my desk typically stay pretty clean. I usually put bills on them to remind me to pay them so I can have my shelves clean and empty again. The cable management is pretty non-existent, and going into 2017 is going to be one of my biggest focuses for this space. Flipping to the opposite side of the room is the new shooting space. One of my biggest problems filming in the old apartment was lighting. I've got a lot more control in this new space. I stepped up to 4 Philips Hue lights, 2 with color, and 2 white bulbs. The 2 Hue with color bulbs are in IKEA Format floor lamps. I went with these lamps for a few reasons. The neck of the lamp is bendable, which makes it easy to set up the perfect angle, and the cord runs on the inside of the metal, keeping the look clean and minimal. The lamps are lightweight, and at $45, they won't break the bank. These lamps with the Hue light bulbs can really create a mood in the room. Combined with the lamps, I have some bias lighting on the back side of the bookshelf. The light strip is made to be plugged into TVs, but at around $13, it's a cheap way to add a little more variety to the lighting. The bookshelf itself is also IKEA. I don't have the exact model name, but IKEA sells several like it. I turn the shelf horizontally, which puts it about waist high. The dark shelf on a white wall background creates a really interesting contrast to shoot products on. It can really mess with the white balance sometimes, but when everything comes together on a shot, it can look really good. Below the top shelf are some smaller cubbies, which I keep my camera gear and extra tech that I want quick access to. There's plenty of space to grow here, but eventually I want to create a hidden charging station for all my smaller devices like GoPros and battery packs. Another Belkin wall outlet will most likely end up behind here to power all of that. Hiding in the corner are some IKEA storage crates. While it's not the most exciting part of the setup, these crates are a compact way to hold a lot of things. The large bottom crate holds things I need to keep, but hopefully don't need to access, like tax returns and other fun things. I discovered that 2 smaller crates can perfectly stack on top of the large one, and I keep paper products semi-organized in these. To keep the room's aesthetic clean, all of my product boxes and other smaller items live in the closet, but are still relatively organized. Finally, and possibly my favorite part of the setup, is in an altogether different room, the entertainment room. The entertainment room has a pretty minimal aesthetic. The focus of the room is the 50-inch Vizio 4K TV. The TV is wall-mounted on an articulating arm with white bias lights attached to the rear of the TV. Bias lighting adds a subtle layer of light to the room, as well as improves contrast when watching TV at night. I wanted the TV to look like it's floating, so I cut a few holes in the wall and routed the cables behind the wall. There's an Apple TV plugged in that sits down below the console, and a spare HDMI cable in case I want to hook something else up. I can really get some cool shots in this room with the IKEA lamps, and during the morning hours, the windows catch the sunrise for some nice natural light. This really is a great space to kick back and relax with a drink at night. So that's my setup going into 2017. Going forward, cable management is going to be my first goal to tackle. On top of that, I want to add some sound dampening foam to the wall above my monitor. My office is a small room with carpet, but my blue snowball seems to pick up a pretty noticeable echo. Finally, I've been eyeing the Nanoleaf Aurora lighting setup for a few months. I've seen other YouTubers use them, like Your Average Consumer, and they look great. I'd love to add these above the bookshelf for product shots. Thanks for checking out my setup tour. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and leave a comment below of what you think of the setup. Love it? Hate it? What would you change? Let me know in the comments below. Coming up, I'll have a video on my YouTube workflow showing everything that goes into making one of these videos, as well as all the tools I use, so make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Once again, this is Jason with Maslintech. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.